Hey boys, how we going? Today we'll be talking through our Dragon Ruler deck profile. Now this Dragon Ruler build is super fun to play. I enjoyed it a lot when I was playing at the OTS tournament most recently. I did really well. We went 4-0 and tied for first place, so I'm really happy with this deck. It also got us our World Championship qualifier invite, so we'll be playing the Dragon Rulers realistically in the YCQ. But we'll get straight into the deck profile, and I'll basically explain to you guys my thought process, how the deck works, things that you could definitely add, change to the deck that wouldn't be bad, but stuff that I haven't done, but you can definitely test it out. Alright, so at the moment, we are playing two of the big rules at the moment. Now, a couple of things to note about this. You could definitely play 3 Storm and or 3 Blaster. I've seen a lot of people do it. Now, we are playing 40 cards. As well, and we'll quickly talk about that after the video, maybe about why we play 40 over 60. But yeah, people are playing 3 Blaster and 3 Tempest. Now the reason is because Blaster gets you into your Tempi engine, you want to be able to banish it, which is why people like playing 3 of it, so it's always in your hand, and then you hopefully have one of these rulers in your hand to also banish it, and or one of the babies, search one of them, banish this after. So that's the reason why people play 3. I think 2 is fine though. I don't think 3 is needed. And then the 3 Tempest, you could definitely play 3 in this build, because we are playing things like the Power Arm Dragon build, so we are playing things, a lot of Wind Dragons, so it's definitely, not off the table to play 3 of this, because it's definitely one of the best ones to be able to search any dragon from the deck. It's pretty strong. Once we get it out of a droll format, I would definitely consider playing this to 3, but while we're in a droll format, I wouldn't want to play this to 3 for quite a while. But once we're out of it, I think it would be pretty strong to be able to search Flickers plus another dragon, discard itself, and then go from there to full combo. So you can definitely play 3 once we get out of the droll format. Now for the babies, we are playing 1 of each baby, and then we are playing the 3 Flickers. Side note about the babies, same concept applies to the Wind and Fire. You could definitely play 2 if you really wanted to. I wouldn't in a 40 card, but you definitely could. But with Flickers, it is obviously your best starter. Adds you any 2 Dragon Rulers from deck to hand. So because we are playing in drop format, a lot of people have moved away from things like Ash, because realistically an Ash is not gonna stop, having 1 Ash is not gonna stop someone from full comboing you normally in this day and age, but something like Droll does. In this meta, when people are playing Mitsurugi Raziel, and then people are playing, a bunch of those decks that do just add a lot. So I think, people are more playing Droll and the Malchumis over things like Ash. So in the OTS, we did play Flickers, and we only got, I don't think we got Ashed ever on the Flickers. We only got Drolled on it basically every time. So I would definitely say Flickers is the best starter, gets you in a full combo. Once you get Drolled as well, it does not really matter, so that's fine. So if they draw me off this, I'm completely happy with that. After this, we are playing the Armed Dragon. Now this is a bit of a spicy one. A lot of people don't actually play the Armed Dragons. They play the more hand traps, bigger Tempo engine, or they play, more babies or the more Dragon Rulers. Now, let me talk you through the Armed Dragons. A lot of people probably don't even know what they do. Now, first of all, they are Wind Dragons, so they work really well with Tempest. They work really well with the deck. But when they're sent as cost for a Dragon effect, so these 2 being sent off any of the babies, and or the Tempest effect, all trigger. So this one lets you draw a card. This one searches you any Wind level 7 dragon, so that obviously, corresponds really well with your Tempest, because obviously you search this. But normally you're just going to Polearm, and then Polearm Dragon. If you read at the bottom left, it says you can send 1 other Wind Dragon, or 1 other level 7 or higher Dragon monster, being any of your rulers, from your hand to the grave. Special summon this card from your hand. You can send a 1 Armed Dragon monster from your hand or deck to your graveyard, except Power Armed Dragon, then target 1 face-up monster you control. That targeting monster gains attack equal to the level of that monster sent to the grave times 300. That is pretty insane. So you can send any of these, and then they all trigger, so that will obviously let you this, and then this would obviously let you draw a card. So it keeps your hand relatively pretty healthy. To be able to send anything a level 7 or higher, because obviously, these don't even matter in the hand. If you have these in hand or grave, it does not matter. It does the exact same function. except for maybe if you want Tempest's Hand so you can discard something and then add any dragon, but normally I'd rather this over this. You know, if I've got Polearm and this, I'd use the Polearm effect to send this away, and then be able to use its effect to draw a card, and then this is engraved as it's live, so that we have a level 7 on board with this engraved that it's live, and then we get the draw card, so that's why we do that. Next, we have our Tempai engine, so we play the 1 Dora, the 2 Padra, 1 Genroku, 1 Fedra, and 1 Chandra. Now, I'll have people slam their head in the comments saying, why am I playing 1 Dora? Dora is absolutely broken, you should play 3, gets you 2 level 7s. I get it, I was playing 3 for quite a while, but I think 1 is actually the way to go, in my opinion. Like I was saying before, we are in a droll format. This means if you have Dora in hand, and you are trying to combo with your, you use flickers first, or you're trying to add, or you use Polearm, and you're trying to add something, or you draw, and then you get drolled, this is just actual a dead card in your hand. There's no reason to have it in your hand, it doesn't do anything, but your Padra and Genroku, I guess Chandra as well if you go in second, Fadra if you've got something grave, but normally your Genroku Padra are actually live cards that are a really good normal summon. Obviously, if Dora goes unaffected and goes uninterrupted, this is absolutely insane. But you can also search this off the blaster when it gets banished, so that's why we don't actually main 3 or 2. We just play 1, which is fine. So if we go uninterrupted, we get flickers, and then we search the baby sparks, and then the tempest, and then they still haven't drolled. Then I will be looking to go into Chasma, discard, detach this, and then send the water one, and then we'll use title effect to banish this, plus another dragon, and then go into Dora. But if we are under droll, I will just, and we have the Padra in hand, I will just normal Padra, because the effect is, I can add and or set Sangan Spell Trap in hand. I can actually just set Sangan Spell Trap under droll, which is pretty funny, so I can just set the Sangan Kainen or the Sangan Summoning if we're going second and we're trying to go for OTK, and we're going to like pop the field spell and go like 18,000 damage, right? which is why we play the Padra. So at least if we're going first, we get trolled. At least we have some sort of play with Kaiman, because obviously bad players, if they don't respect the Kaiman, it will be really scary when in the battle phase when Chandra comes out, and then that revives Fedra, and then Fedra gets the Padra, and then they all start synchroning together to start doing stuff. That is really scary to deal with, but a lot of players will have to deal with this right away. So just the pressure of having Kaiman in hand, on the field is pretty scary. We play the gold cards, Talons, Gold Sark, and the Callby. I shouldn't have to explain Callby and Talons, obviously they're pretty crazy. But the Gold Sark is your 1-card combo for your Tempai engine, where if you're really struggling and you haven't got anything, you can just banish Blaster, search a Dora, and then try and go for Dora if you're really desperate. So at least you always have some sort of play. If you get Ash and you go, you get Ash with this, and you go, at least I have this to start extended, I guess. That's why I play that. But with this Salesman, this is actually a really spicy card. A lot of people are just starting to pick up. Now, Salesman is one of those cards where it's really good going first or second. So you declare one card name for the rest of the turn. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects of cards with that original name as a declared card. Restrictions apply to you, but for the rest of the duel instead. So, if you're going first and you have flickers in hand and you need something to happen, you would just call the Ash, because at least you know that you have combo, and you can, they don't have the Ash because you've just called it. But so that's why you do that, so you can force stuff, so you can force the plays through. But going second, it's really strong calling that boss monster. So for example, like a Razil Detonator, you'd be like Razil Detonator, you'd call that, and then they can't use the effect to pop, and then it's like 3 pops, and then you use Eclipse Twins to bring it back, and then has the effect to detach instead of being destroyed. So Salesman is pretty good against the Razil matchup. That's why we play that. But for our non-engine, we're playing 3 draw Lockboard, 3 Melchami. I shouldn't have to explain these cards. These cards are absolutely busted. Everyone's playing these in the meta at the moment, so I shouldn't have to explain these. But for the Mag, because we are playing a light dark format, Mag's obviously really good against Blue Eyes, killing the Maiden, killing the Malice cards that have already been banished and recycled back to the grave. Just banish them straight away is also pretty good. But obviously, it also adds, it's really weirdly a Tempai, it sort of goes into Tempai really quickly, because you go Mag F on the end phase, you go Mag F, and then on the end phase, you result the effect. So you go add Genroku effect to then summon from hand. That summons it from hand, and then effect distributors cost some Padra, and then we do that thing like we said about Padra, either set or add the Kaiman as well. So that can be pretty fun. It's pretty funny. Or you could just even summon the Genroku, leave it at that. And then when you hit on your main phase 1, you even go to the Sparta, you can go into the Transcendent, whatever you want. So that's why you can do that. And then we play the Quacky Meru Draco, so this is obviously pretty crazy at the moment. Obviously, in the meta at the moment, 90% are light and dark, so to be able to tell your opponent, you can't special light and dark monsters, that's borderline game ending for them. I've had a lot of people at the OTS the other day when we were playing this, and they would actually just instant scoop, because at face value, it doesn't look that scary when it's in the grave, right? When I send title and then effective Chasm to dump it from deck, people don't even look at it, they just go, oh, whatever, just another dragon. But then when I go in their draw phase, so then sit there and summon this thing, they go, oh wow. And the funny thing is, because it is 1900, it's a pretty big normal, so a lot of normal summons aren't going to know this thing, so that's why I do that. And then we play 2 Nib, so a quick word about why we play the Nib. People would be sitting there being like, Ghost Bell is really good, or a lot of these other hand traps are definitely playable. You can play Ash, or you can play whatever you want, right? So we play the Nib for 2 reasons. So first of all, we don't play that many hand traps. We're not playing like a live twin where we can fit in 20 hand traps, right? Or a lot of these meta decks at the moment that are running like 15 hand traps, right? We can't do it at the moment because it is a 2-card combo deck. We need space to be able to fit our engine in, which sort of sucks, but a lot of this engine is pretty scary, and then they have to deal with it or they just lose. So we play the Nib because we want big impactful cards, so things like Droll, Melcharmy, and Nib are pretty game ending for some decks. And against rogue decks, it's also really strong, right? But the one comment I would make about Nibiru, or I guess 2, right? First of all, against Mitsurugi, it is not optimal to Nib because obviously, Nib and them, it can be pretty bad when it starts triggering all their stuff, right? Because once all the Mitsurugi ritual guys get tributed, they all start triggering in the grave. So that's one thing to say about that. But the second thing is, because it is a light, it actually is pretty funny because it actually works as flickers really well, because you can discard this card, 1 dragon or a light monster. Obviously Nib is a light monster, so it does come up a lot, in the 40 especially, where you just draw the flickers and you draw the Nib. So that's why we do that, okay? For the extra deck, we are running the 2 Chasmas, 1 Eclipse, and 1 Disaster for the Dragon Reel stuff. Chasma's obviously the GOAT, right? He's carrying the Dragon Reels at the moment. He's the only reason why the Dragon Reels have made a comeback at the moment. Without this card, this deck would not be playing. So for people that don't know, as cost, it sends 1 Dragon Reel from deck to grave and detaches. I don't think people realize how absolutely absurd that is. Not only that, it copies the effect. For people that don't realize what copying the effect means, it means if I use the effect to add a dragon, it cannot be ashed, which means it's just like this card that just dodges hand traps because it can't be ashed, right? So I had a lot of people who were sitting there and it'd be like, title effect to dump, which is normally what you do, right? But sometimes if you have mad extension, you could definitely go Tempest and then add a card, right? I'd have people sit there and question me why they can't ash it, but because the effect is a copy, you can't ash it, which is pretty funny. Eclipse is pretty strong. Obviously, it's a mad extension on summon, target 1 Dragon Reeler, and then you summon the level 7 one that corresponds with it. So obviously, if this is in your banishment, right, you summon 1 from deck or banishment. So you summon the blast from deck or banishment, which is why it's pretty strong extension, because obviously it gets you into your your seals, or it gets you into another Chasma, or whatever, right? It just gets your bodies on board, which is pretty strong. Obviously, the Spell Trap Negate is also very strong. Disaster is one of those weird cards where I can see why people don't play it, but it's just a funny card to be able to sit there and just board banish and graveyard banish your opponent. With the Fiendsmith stuff running around, and obviously how well it sort of works in grinding games, to be able to sit there and shuffle each other back and summon each other back, pretty good. So to be able to sit there and just banish a Fiendsmith, Fiendsmith Live Twins is pretty strong, borderline game ending for them. So that's why you play Disaster. But obviously, with like a Malice matchup, you wouldn't be doing that. We're just gonna lose. So that's why you do that. Typhon is just basically just that. It's just Typhon, so I don't need to explain that, right? We play 2 in case we reverse the Unicorn. So this level 7 is the most important level 7 in the deck. So we play 2 just in case you do hit, you go first and then you go back to you and need another one. It does come up quite a bit where you need like that sort of another push to sort of summon another guy from grave and then start extended, right, to transcendent and things like that. So it does come up quite a bit. Versus Unicorn as well, obviously if this gets banished, it becomes an issue where you can't sort of extend hard, but having 2, just make sure we get through it. Transcendent, obviously the most broken card in the game. To be able to sit there and tell your opponent, all your opponents must attack if they're able to. You can't activate cards during the battle phase. If this card is summoned, you have to change all monsters on the field to attack. If 3 attacks have been declared this turn, it summons itself, destroys a card. All one effect, by the way. So this card is absolutely busted. So if you can make this during main phase 1 with a field spell, Challenger on board, you auto win the game. Most people will just instant scoop from there. With the Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, now this card, you could definitely play the normal just Black Rose Dragon, and it would be the same thing. Even if so, actually, it would probably be better just play Black Rose, but I just haven't tested it out that much. But you could definitely play the Black Rose, just normal Black Rose, and just start board wiping. Especially if you have like 2 Tempars on board and they go battle phase and you just Black Rose that board. So you definitely could play the Black Rose, but I just like Black Rose Moonlight just because sometimes I don't want to board wipe myself. So that's why I play that one. Q Belt. Now this card is pretty funny to be able to just target one, just drop a card. It's pretty good against Blue Eyes. Pretty good to pop your own field spell. Make it a 5k beat over something. Comes up a little bit. This Spader, a lot of people are not playing this at the moment. It's a pretty insane card. It is pretty good extension because we are playing the mag, and then we're also playing the flickers. You can also summon these guys back and then have an extension to try and get into like a seals if you're trying to end on it. Your absolute god board is like Dissipator, Eclipse, Charismatic Seals. That's like the actual god board if you can get to it. It happens once in a blue moon, but if you can get to it, there's no way they're playing through it. So board pop, and then you can even summon their cards back, which is pretty funny, man. So you can do that. Trident, shouldn't have to explain this card. Pops 2 on your card. Pops 2 cards on your field, and then gains that many attacks, additional attacks. So you can pop your field spell, pop a random card. This now triggers, doubles its attack, makes it 6k, and then it has 3 attacks. So that's 6k times 3, which is 18,000 damage, which a lot of bullets are not playing through 18,000 damage. So yeah. We play Striker Dragon, so Striker Dragon actually weirdly comes up a lot where you try and go for your normal Theodora, Padra, Genroku, whatever it is, and then they negate it. So you just link it off, so at least your Tempars are actually still doing something in the grave. You can banish them, so for your Dragon Reels, so that's why you play the Striker Dragon, and then obviously it also builds into your SP Little Knight, so I guess you banish a free banish as well, which is also pretty nice. It does come up quite a bit in like a simplified game state where you are trying to, just SP sometimes will just do the trick. And then Seals, obviously, it wouldn't be a Dragon deck without Seals, so that's why we play the Seals at the moment. Now, for our side deck, this side deck, I would change it a little bit, but nothing crazy. So, 3 Judgment, obviously, Judgment going first, you're playing that bad boy. Nib, if you're playing against like a heavy combo deck, you play Nib. Now the Lava Golem, I don't know why people aren't playing this card in the Dragon Reels. I think it is absolutely insane to be able to sit there and tell people, go in second, you just Lava Golem their boss monsters, and then you don't even need a normal summon. There's no point. You don't need to, because you can just go Blaster Banish, add Genroku, and then Genroku affected, then summon itself. Go from there. So that's why you play the Lava Golem. You definitely maxes out. And then you play the Harpy Feather Duster, just play 1. Obviously, most decks playing a lot of back row at the moment, so Harpy's Feather Duster is also pretty good. Now, Heatwave is like a tech card. I don't know why people aren't running this as well in this deck. I think it's definitely mandatory in this side, So, at the start of main phase 1, neither player can normal or special summon effect monsters till your next draw phase. I think that is absolutely busted to be able to tell someone by the way, we're both not allowed a normal or special till it gets back to me, and then you just go on full template combo on them. You know, they're not playing through, you know, they're not going to be able to play through that. So, you know, if you are going first on a game 2, game 3, you're definitely sliding this bad boy in straight away with like some judgments, and then taking out mock charmies, your nibs, and then probably like even a mag you probably take out, or your salesman if you're going first and you're confident. So that's why you do that. And then your Lancia, obviously, you know, we hate Malice and stuff like that. Also works with all the seals running around. Now the Crucier. A couple of things I would say about this card. So people still like say like, oh, you should make this card 100%. Like, there's no reason not to. It's 2800. It's better than the Quacky Chimera Draco, where the Quacky just makes it so light and darks can't be special summoned, but this just makes it so everything can't be special summoned. Now, that is correct. But if you're sitting there and you're just able to get Chasmer on board, everything's been, you know, been drolled, been Chumi, whatever it is, and you've scared a nib and you don't want to be nibbed, so you're just trying to get some Chasmer and pass. It does come up a bit where you will go effect to send title, send this, and then on their draw phase, effect events and redox summon this, and then they just bestial this, and then you just lose, right? So that's why you side it. So because we are playing like a light and dark format, like we said, we're going to be making this for quite a while until the light and dark slowly move their way out. So because most people are playing light and darks, or the bestials are probably playing the light and dark deck, this is why we run this. But if we are playing a non-light and dark deck, this is why we play this. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. If you have any comments about the deck, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about playing this deck and what things you would change and stuff like that. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. Thanks. Bye.